Scott Boland, very well bowled, 4 wickets, was on a hat-trick at one point there, and he set this crowd of 47,998 alight. It's a record crowd since 1976 for day one here at the SCG, and it's a really knowledgeable cricket crowd, and they appreciate talent when they see it. The highlights thanks to Harvey Norman. It's all about this last passage of play, last delivery. So riled up Jasprit Bumrah. He was determined to get in there. Well, this is with 2 balls to go. Constant engaged. And I think just at that moment, Bumrah might have said, okay, well, that's fine. I've only got 2 deliveries left. I'm really going to fine-tune these last 2.
And on the money with that last one. Had to play. And a good catch by Rahul.
Penny for his thoughts there.
India with the last laugh in the end. Jasprit Bumrah on top, and you have to think about Usman Khawaja. A lot of talk about how long he will continue for, and getting out cheaply here. Those conversations will continue. Out for just 2.
I think that halo there, brilliant vision, just exaggerates how challenging it is facing Bumrah. That's a full-length delivery. Usman Khawaja's been caught hopping on the crease with feet in the air quite often in this series. Typically that length is a ball that many players would be able to get forward to, but that's the challenge of Bumrah. A brand new ball around the wicket, and he was fired up.
And that's why it was important India were bowled out, and they got that 10 minutes to have a crack at Usman Khawaja.
So Australia were asked to bowl first. Bumrah won the toss and said, yeah, we'll have a bat. The Chemist Warehouse wickets replay. It was KL Rahul back to the top of the order. He was first to go. He fought hard for 13 deliveries, and then a little bit of a soft dismissal, clipping Mitchell Starc to the leg side, and then enter Scott Boland.
Yeah, Shasvi Jaiswal looking to leave his crease. Scott Boland was into the action. He's got a fabulous average here already. And Nathan Lyon with the wicket of Shubman Gill on the stroke of lunch. Steve Smith credited for that one. It was an easy catch, but they got stuck into him.
Yeah, but Boland has had Virat Kohli's number 4 times. He's dismissed him in his career, 3 in this series. And again, the catching so good. That ball was flying. Pant had to work really hard. He was bruised all over and trying to break the shackles here. And a good catch by Cummins. Once again, Boland on a roll. And next ball, getting the Centurion of Melbourne. Out first ball at the SCG. Another good catch, this time Steve Smith.
And then it was Jadeja, which is a little partnership with Washington Sundar and Mitchell Starc attacked the stumps. Did review, but it was deemed to be cannoning into the stumps. And then a slightly controversial one. Cummins around the wicket. Bit of a half-hearted appeal, a polite request. No certainty. It was deemed not out, but they sent it upstairs. And Joel Wilson felt there was enough evidence. It's going to be one that's spoken about for a little while to come.
Yeah, there was a bit of fun with the lower order players before Prasidh Krishna was out to Mitch Starc. Jasprit Bumrah entertained for a few boundaries before his opposite number got the better of him. Pat Cummins with the final wicket. He was out for 22. And India were all out for 185.
Yeah, and that left 16 minutes for Australia to come out and bat. A bit of that time was chewed up due to a blow to the finger for Usman Khawaja. And as he sits back in the change rooms now, having been dismissed, he probably hoped that either he was able to chew up more time then, or at least not have his batting partner rile up Jasprit Bumrah. But there was a big moment in the day where Scott Boland, he picked up his first wicket, and then very next ball, first ball for Virat Kohli, this happened. Steve Smith lunged. He felt that he had his hand underneath it. The ball shot up, was accepted by Labuschagne. It went upstairs, and it just seemed on initial viewing that maybe his hand was underneath, and it was the fact that his hand was positioned under the ball, he scooped it, but the more you looked at it, the more you felt there was potentially grass touching the ball.
Yeah, just there towards the end, and I think that's the doubt that was created in the umpire's mind. So I think a fair decision in the end.
It's so difficult for the players these days. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, that probably would have been given out. But because the umpires have the benefit of seeing the close-up shots now with the cameras, any sort of doubt of whether that ball touches the ground, and they give it not out.
And when you see the replay so many times as a third umpire, you know which way it's going. It normally goes in favour of the batsman. So the benefit of the doubt went for Virat Kohli.
Certainly did. It was a tough day for all gentlemen that strode to the crease today on a lively wicket, plenty of grass, and none more than Rishabh Pant. He was criticised for maybe throwing his wicket away a little bit too easily down in Melbourne, but he was determined to dig in today. And he, well, a number of blows all over the body, one on the bicep there and then one to the back of the helmet.
It showed batting wasn't all that easy. The Australian bowling was relentless. But you're right. You know, the application was very good today. He was determined to try and put runs on the board, get India past 200. He battled hard, got a lot of knocks. In between that, when you look at it now, those 40 runs could be pretty precious.
That's right. We'll judge that innings of 185 when Australia have their full innings complete, as we saw in Perth. 150 was plenty in the first innings. They bowled Australia out for just over 100. But it wasn't only the left-hander who took a few body blows. There was Washington Sundar. He struck a nasty blow today.
I'll let you gents talk about this one.
Yeah, there are so many knocks today.
And then Siraj took a nasty blow there too. That held play up just for a little passage of play. And even Usman Khawaja in the couple of overs, he had to face a nasty blow on the finger.
I just wonder how the pitch will behave as the game progresses. You know, whether those indentations will make it a little more difficult for the batsman. If the sun comes out and it quickens up a bit and the bounce gets a little uneven, you know, it's not going to be easy. So the runs on the board are premium. I think from Australia's point of view, the first innings becomes very important. A big first innings is needed. Even a 60-70 run lead could be very handy.
Yeah, it does indeed. There's also cracks already in the wicket under the grass, and warmer temperatures turning up over the next 3 days, well into the 30s. So we'll watch that with interest. Scott Boland, you just cannot keep him out of it though, Isha. Every time. The first over, extraordinary amount of times. And then he ended up on a hat-trick. He thought he was on a hat-trick with the non-dismissal of Virat Kohli, but then he picks up Rishabh Pant, and then he gets the century maker from Melbourne. Yeah, exactly right. And he bowled such good lines and lengths. In fact, that dismissal of Rishabh Pant, it was the first time he'd really gone short. So he tried his luck. Rishabh Pant fell for it. But in general, he's looking in that good length area. He rarely ever leaves that line just outside the off stump. There was a good tussle with Virat Kohli once again, but that was a big breakthrough for him. The third time he's got him in this series. India tried. They tried to unsettle him. They tried to move up and down the crease, but the nature of the wicket, the fact that it was so tacky, it was just too difficult for them. So, yeah, another big day for Scott Boland. Yeah, it certainly was. Knows how to make an impact. Washington Sundar, I mentioned, he tried to fight as hard as he could for 30 deliveries, and then this happened. As you can see, there's no certainty, no real joy there for the Australians. It was just a polite inquiry. They thought they may have heard something. It was reviewed, having been deemed not out. And look, I must say, it's hard to say that's convincing, 100% certain that has brushed the glove. His foot was down close to the stumps. Ravi, it may be questionable as to what made that line wobble. I think he'll consider himself unlucky. I believe it could be the spike, you know, that close to the stumps that might have rubbed across the turf and made that spike go a little bit. But you know, when you look at it, you need conclusive evidence, and I'm not sure they had enough there. Well, the on-field decision was not out, so you need enough evidence to overturn that decision. There wasn't a significant deviation as well, and so, yeah, tricky one. And you could understand why Washington Sundar was upset. Yeah, they felt like they'd been on the receiving end of a few that haven't been favourable, India, over the last couple of games, but that's the nature of the beast. But they'll be well pleased picking up that last wicket.